Something is seriously wrong. Just days after reports claimed that Sean "Diddy" Combs was violently attacked while in custody, alleged footage from an intensive care unit has surfaced online, and it has sent shockwaves through the internet. People are angry, confused, and demanding answers. How could a man of such immense influence, someone once considered untouchable in the world of hip-hop, end up in critical condition under the government's supervision? The entire situation feels like something out of a thriller, except this time it is all too real. In the hours since the first leaks appeared, social media has exploded with speculation. The hashtags "Justice for Diddy" and "ICU footage" have been trending non-stop, as fans, critics, and insiders all weigh in. Some believe this was a random prison altercation gone wrong, while others are convinced it was a message, a warning. But before jumping to conclusions, let's look at how this story even reached this point. Diddy's recent fall from grace has been nothing short of astonishing. For decades, he was seen as a powerhouse, a mogul who built empires out of music, fashion, and media. But in the past year, things began to crumble. Lawsuits, raids, and shocking allegations painted a picture of a man surrounded by secrets. Still, no one expected that his story would take such a dark turn. Reports now claim that he was attacked late at night inside his holding facility, in a section supposedly under constant surveillance. Yet somehow there is no official camera footage of what happened. How does something like that even occur in a maximum security setting? Authorities released a short, vague statement saying Diddy had been involved in a physical altercation and was receiving medical care. That's it. No details about the attackers, no explanation of the circumstances, and no updates on his condition. For a case this high profile, the silence is deafening, and people are starting to question whether the public is being deliberately kept in the dark. What makes this timing even more suspicious is that just a week before the attack, several blogs reported that Diddy had been planning to cooperate in an ongoing federal investigation. He had allegedly told close associates that he wanted to clear his name. Then, suddenly, he's hospitalized in critical condition. Coincidence, maybe, but the internet rarely believes in coincidences, especially when it comes to someone as controversial as Diddy. The so-called leaked ICU footage only adds more mystery. The short, grainy clip appears to show Diddy connected to medical equipment, surrounded by guards. His face looks bruised, his head bandaged. Whether the footage is authentic or not, its impact is undeniable. Viewers are outraged, claiming that no one should be able to suffer such an attack while under state supervision. Even those who previously criticized Diddy are demanding transparency. But there's another layer that's making people uneasy. For a few hours after the footage began circulating, major media outlets briefly covered the story and then, just as quickly, stopped. It vanished from front pages, trending sections, and even entertainment sites that normally thrive on celebrity drama. That sudden silence is fueling even more suspicion. Why would news outlets drop a story that the entire internet is talking about? Who is pulling the strings behind the scenes? This whole situation has people recalling other infamous cases where inmates in custody suffered mysterious accidents. Comparisons to Jeffrey Epstein's case are unavoidable: missing footage, conflicting reports, and unanswered questions. It's a familiar pattern, and many are wondering if history is repeating itself in a new form. At the same time, online investigators have started piecing together timelines, staff rosters, and movement logs that allegedly point to inconsistencies in the official version of events. Some claim Diddy was already under medical supervision before the attack. Others say he was isolated immediately afterward, while a few insist he was transferred to a private hospital under federal protection. Each version contradicts the next, but one thing they all share is the absence of verifiable evidence. Even more disturbing is the complete silence from Diddy's family and legal team. Not a single public statement, not a single image confirming he's stable. For fans, that silence is unbearable. One viral tweet read, "If he's okay, just show him. Prove it." That post alone received over 100,000 likes within hours. The demand for clarity has become a movement, and the longer the silence continues, the louder that movement grows. People are scared, angry, and suspicious. They are not just talking about Diddy anymore, they're talking about trust. If someone this famous can be attacked inside a monitored facility and no one provides answers, what does that say about accountability and safety for anyone else? And yet, amid the outrage, a few voices are urging caution. They warn that misinformation spreads faster than truth, especially online. But the problem is that when officials remain silent, speculation fills the vacuum. People want explanations, and if they don't get them, they'll make their own. As this story continues to unfold, one question keeps echoing across every social platform, every live stream, and every late-night discussion. What aren't they telling us? Because whatever happened inside those walls, it's clear that the public is only getting fragments, and until the full truth comes out, this story will keep growing, louder and darker with every passing hour. The more people dig into this story, the more disturbing it becomes. After the supposed ICU footage leaked, attention quickly shifted toward the one question that's been haunting everyone online who had access to Diddy before the attack. Inside a controlled facility, every movement, every conversation, and every visitor is logged. Yet somehow, no one seems to know exactly who was near him that night. It's almost as if the entire timeline of events has been blurred, leaving only fragments behind. Unofficial reports claim the altercation happened shortly after midnight in an isolated section of the facility. That's already suspicious. Late-night movements inside high-security units are rare and tightly monitored. If Diddy was attacked then, the fact that no guards intervened in time raises serious doubts. Was security conveniently light that night, or was someone deliberately looking the other way? People close to the situation say that, days before the incident, there had been noticeable tension inside. Diddy was reportedly frustrated, constantly requesting meetings with his attorneys and complaining about conditions. He allegedly told a staff member that he didn't feel safe. Whether that was paranoia or intuition, no one took it seriously until now. Adding to the chaos, whispers from inside the facility suggest that the attack wasn't spontaneous. Several anonymous employees told online outlets that an unfamiliar inmate was suddenly transferred into Diddy's unit just 24 hours before the incident. No one seems to know where that person came from or where they went afterward. The records are sealed, the names redacted. That single detail has sent conspiracy circles into overdrive. Even if you strip away the wild theories, the facts that have surfaced are enough to make anyone uneasy. One of the guards assigned to Diddy's wing reportedly called in sick that same night. Another was said to be temporarily reassigned, just hours before the attack. Coincidence? Maybe, but when you line up all these little details, they start to form a pattern that doesn't feel random at all. Then there's the matter of what happened immediately after. Sources claim the entire wing was placed on lockdown within minutes, but medical response was delayed. If that's true, it could mean that valuable time was lost, time that might have made the difference between a minor injury and a critical one. Diddy was eventually rushed to a nearby medical facility, but even that has conflicting accounts. Some say he was taken to a private ICU under federal protection. Others say he remained inside the prison hospital. Either way, no official documentation has been released. As investigators try to piece together what really happened, Social media detectives are connecting the dots between Diddy's current situation and his long history of industry connections. Some are pointing fingers at former associates, rivals, and even government entities that might want him silenced. Of course, none of this is confirmed, but the narrative spreading online is powerful. People believe this wasn't just violence, it was a message. What makes this story even more complex is the wave of insider reactions. Several celebrities have broken their silence with cryptic posts, adding more fuel to the fire. One artist tweeted, "The truth always comes out, even when they try to bury it." Another wrote, "Be careful who you cross. The system doesn't forgive." Whether these are direct references or coincidences, they are enough to keep speculation alive. Meanwhile, fans are frustrated that major news outlets continue to treat the situation as a rumor rather than a legitimate story. Many believe there's an active effort to suppress coverage. Independent journalists claim they've reached out to the facility for comment multiple times, only to be met with silence. Even Diddy's legal representatives have gone quiet, no statements, no updates, not even a confirmation that he's conscious. That vacuum of information is what's driving this entire wildfire of theories. Online commentary has also shifted from outrage to fear. Some viewers say this feels like a test, a reminder that power doesn't protect anyone anymore. Others believe this is a symbol of a deeper corruption, one that extends beyond celebrity culture and into systemic abuse of power. If this can happen to someone like Diddy, one user wrote, "What chance does the average person have?" That comment alone captured the mood of millions. And yet, amid the noise, a few journalists and content creators are trying to cut through the chaos. They're urging people to focus on the timeline, not the rumors. They're analyzing leaked medical reports, comparing timestamps, and calling out inconsistencies in official statements. One popular commentator noted that in every major scandal involving high-profile detainees, the same three things always happen. First, an unexpected incident. Second, restricted information. And third, a mysterious disappearance of public records. The current situation seems to check all three boxes. But even as these investigations deepen, the bigger question remains why. What could Diddy have known or been about to reveal that would make him a target? Some allege he had sensitive information about influential figures and was preparing to make a deal. Others think it's simpler, that personal grudges or prison politics got out of hand. Yet, no matter which theory you believe, all roads lead back to one undeniable truth. Something happened that night that no one wants to talk about. For now, all the public has are whispers, clips, and theories. But the silence from official sources is louder than any rumor. Until someone inside that facility comes forward, the truth will stay locked away. The world is watching closely, waiting for even a shred of confirmation. Because at this point, it's not just about Diddy anymore. It's about trust, accountability, and the terrifying idea that even the most powerful people can vanish into the system without explanation. And as the days go by, that silence becomes harder to ignore. What began as a shocking headline has turned into a movement, a demand for truth, transparency, and justice. People want to know exactly what happened inside those walls and why it's being kept secret. Because if this story has taught anyone anything, it's that when power and silence collide, the truth is always the first casualty. The internet refuses to let this story die. Days have passed since the alleged attack on Diddy, and yet no official report, no verified photo, and no statement from his team has surfaced. Every hour of silence feels heavier than the last. What began as shock has now evolved into full-blown outrage. Across platforms, people are calling this a cover-up, the kind that exposes more than it hides. Commentators are dissecting every second of that leaked ICU footage, frame by frame, searching for answers that no authority seems willing to give. The lack of transparency has created a vacuum, and that vacuum has been filled with suspicion, anger, and fear. As the days go by, more witnesses are supposedly coming forward, but their stories conflict. Some claim they saw Diddy being moved under heavy security early in the morning after the incident. Others say he was already unconscious before medical staff arrived. A few even insist he was never moved at all, that the footage was pre-recorded. The inconsistencies are staggering. Each version makes the truth harder to find, like pieces from different puzzles forced into the same frame. What's even stranger is the complete media blackout. Normally, a story involving a celebrity of Diddy's stature would dominate headlines for weeks. But this time, there's a strange stillness. Major networks have stopped talking about it altogether. Interviews that once hinted at updates have been mysteriously pulled. Even entertainment insiders who once made careers off Diddy's name are suddenly quiet. Some are even deleting old posts. It's as if an invisible hand pressed pause on the entire conversation. People online are calling it the digital blackout. One viral video claimed that hashtags about Diddy's ICU footage were being suppressed, disappearing from trending lists only minutes after reaching millions of impressions. Whether that's intentional manipulation or algorithmic cleanup, it doesn't matter, the result is the same. The public feels censored, silenced, and manipulated, and that's turning outrage into something much bigger: mistrust. Fans are now questioning not just the facility or the investigation, but the entire system surrounding celebrity justice. They are asking whether the rules change when too much money and power are at stake. One popular post summed it up perfectly. If they can erase a man this famous, imagine what happens to those without cameras watching. That sentiment has gone viral because it resonates. People see in this story a reflection of how fragile truth has become in a world controlled by narratives. The emotional weight of this saga has also hit the music industry hard. Artists who once collaborated with Diddy are suddenly posting cryptic stories, quotes about betrayal and truth. A few producers have spoken anonymously, hinting that Diddy had been working on something big before his incarceration, something that could have changed the way people view the industry forever. No one knows exactly what that means, but the implication is chilling. If he was indeed preparing to reveal something significant, then the attack takes on an entirely different meaning. Amid this chaos, public protests have started to emerge outside several major media headquarters and federal offices. People are holding signs demanding transparency and justice. Some wear shirts with slogans like "We see you" and "Show the truth." It's no longer about celebrity gossip, it's about accountability. The outrage has crossed into activism, and that's when those in power usually start to get nervous. Meanwhile, small independent journalists continue to dig. They're tracing hospital records, interviewing former employees, and reaching out to whistleblowers. One investigator claimed to have obtained internal memos showing that multiple surveillance cameras were offline during the night of the attack. If that's true, it changes everything. It would mean that someone knew exactly when to strike and made sure no evidence would survive. But without official confirmation, it remains just another chilling piece of speculation in an already tangled web of mystery. And yet, despite all this noise, one thing remains eerily constant: Diddy's silence. No video, no statement, no proof of life. The longer it goes on, the more people fear the worst. Even those who were once critical of him have started to say the same thing, that no one deserves to disappear like this, no matter their past. It's become a human issue now, not just a celebrity scandal. In the world of social media, stories come and go within hours, but this one feels different. This story has staying power because it touches something deeper: the idea that truth itself is under attack. Every unanswered question, every missing frame of footage, every quiet headline feeds the growing belief that something far bigger is happening behind the scenes. Whether that belief is justified or not almost doesn't matter anymore. People have made up their minds. They don't trust what they're being told. As commentary channels, podcasts, and live streams continue to speculate, one truth is undeniable: this case has shifted public perception forever. The internet has become its own court, its own investigator, its own jury. And while that might seem chaotic, it also shows the power of people refusing to accept silence. Because silence, in stories like this, speaks louder than any official statement ever could. Maybe someday the full truth will come out. Maybe there's more to this story than anyone realizes. But until that day arrives, the public will keep watching, keep questioning, and keep demanding answers. Because deep down, everyone feels it. This wasn't just an accident, and it wasn't just a story about one man. It's about what happens when control, fear, and secrecy collide in plain sight. In the end, whether Diddy recovers or not, this moment has already left its mark. It has exposed how fragile transparency really is, how quickly power can silence even the loudest voices, and how desperate people are for truth in a world built on manipulation. The outrage that began with a single leaked clip has now turned into something unstoppable, a movement that won't rest until someone, somewhere, finally breaks the silence.